Okay, so I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about the shooting in Chicago. Now, according to the news, there was a crowd of people out there. I don't know if it was a festival or something, and some guys came by, shot up the crowd. The police were saying it. They could have been targeting rival gang members or something like that. But some people got shot, some died, and Chicago is back in the news. Now, I've never done a video about Chicago, and the reason I've never done a video about Chicago is because I'm not from Chicago. I don't know what's happening in Chicago, which is one of the reasons I listen to Harvey Superboy a lot of times, because he's from Chicago, so he can tell me what's going on in Chicago through his videos. Now, it wouldn't be fair for me to judge anything about Chicago because I'm not from there. But I do know that you have thugs everywhere, simps everywhere. But this incident here, I think it's just crazy, right? And I mean, you have crime in every nation, like, and a race. Because I mean, if you watch Snapped, you know, a lot of these like solved ID, they talk about white crimes, Hispanic crimes, and black crimes too. So we have criminals, we have simps, we have murder rates in every race, every country, every nation. So I never want to ever seem as if I'm just talking bad about black people. Okay, so I got that out the way. Now, this incident here in Chicago was terrible. It was terrible. And make no mistake, I mean, pretty soon the government might send the feds in. Now, this is my thing about the whole Chicago incident and other incidents like this happening across the country and in the Caribbean. This is my thing here. The people doing these shootings are not what people would call the good guys or the squares or whatever. A lot of these guys are simps, thugs, that kind of thing. Now, my attitude is gangster because I grew up in the streets of Jamaica. But I'm also a smart guy. Academically, I am a smart guy. Right? I'm street smart because I grew up in the streets. So I know how to maneuver, in the streets. But I'm not talking that type of gangster mentality. I'm talking the sim thuggy pants below the waist type of standing on the corner drinking whatever. You find that here in America, you find that in Jamaica. And in Jamaica, you find a lot of guys just busting their guns for no reason over stupid, silly shit. And the same thing happens here in America. But these incidents highlight what I've been talking about, these simps. Because a lot of these shootings happen because somebody disrespected somebody's mama, or somebody said something about somebody's mama, or said something about somebody's girlfriend, or you looked at another dude's girlfriend wrong, or you was looking on her ass, or I don't know, somebody's girlfriend parked somewhere she wasn't supposed to park, and you run and you shove a guy and the guy shoots you. You know what I mean? Silly shit. Just silly shit. And the thing is, when we have these type of guys running around in our communities, doing these drive-bys, doing these shootings for no reason. I understand if a guy runs into your house trying to rob you and you bust the cap in him. I get that. I get that you and a guy, you have a squabble, whatever, you're licensed to carry, you bust the cap in. You know what I mean? But a lot of these shootings are the senseless, ongoing beefs. And if you research the history of their beefs, the beefs of these gangs is coming from nothing. It's coming from the fact that you live over there, we live across the street or across town, and we just don't like you. Why? Because you wear red and you wear blue, or because you wear green and you wear brown, or because you was fucking this chick in high school, nice, and I just think that my crew should be fucking all the chicks, not your crew, and I'm mad because your crew got the best chick to fuck, and now it's time for us to step on your crew because we want to fuck that silly shit, or because you looked at me wrong and I looked at you wrong, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about. And this type of mentality messes it up for all of us. For every action, there's a reaction. For everything you do, you affect somebody else. So, with these guys is running around simping and thugging and having this so-called macho behavior. I see them in New Jersey. I see them especially in New York. They mess it up for everybody. Because for one, a lot of companies do not want to invest in communities. They're not bringing their companies in the communities. And then you have black folks complaining about not being employed and all these type of stuff. And we all know a lot of black folks don't want to start their own businesses. So they rely on people investing in their communities. But when you have all this shooting and this robbery and fighting and all this shit, you're scaring investors away. Now, I believe in being entrepreneurs. Because that's what I am. I don't give a fuck about investors. But for the people out there who are afraid of being entrepreneurs, you have to behave yourselves so you can have investors come in to your communities. And then the property value goes down. So for the people who bought houses, it's going to be bad for you too. Because now your property is going to be worth a little to nothing because nobody wants to come into a crime-infested area. I mean, I could go on and on and on about the cons of this shit, but we have to do something about this. And then you have people who come to my channel, they're upset with me because I talk about simps and I talk about the females who raise these simps. Like, I'm on the trains sometime in New York City, and I'll see a couple, a hood nigga and a hood female. And this dude has dirty clothes, tats on his neck, his face, all over mean mugging, And then his girl, she'll have like those fake eyelashes and the weave and the piercings all over her lips, like 16 piercings over her top lip, and like 5 nose rings and I'm exaggerating, obviously, and then she'll have like tats in her face and her neck and all this shit, and the way they talk, and then she has a stroller with a baby in it. And 95% of the time, that baby is going to grow up to be either a thot or another simp who's going to run around busting guns, robbing people. I'm telling you. Okay, I said 95% of the times because you do have like people or kids who came out of, homes like this and they turn out to be somebody good in society, but that's totally not the case most of the times. Okay? Most of the times, what will happen through that type of union is what we see in Chicago, what we see in Tennessee, what we saw in Florida. People doing drive-bys, shooting X, shooting this guy, shooting in crowds. When you check their background, most of the times they're either children of single mothers or they had a hood daddy and a hood mama. Neither of them work. They smoke all day, live on the system. I mean, And this shit happens in Jamaica too. This shit happens in Jamaica. Every time I go back to Jamaica, I see this shit. Niggas with bleach out faces, you know. You have cute girls in the hood in Jamaica. Cute girls in the hood fucking these dudes. I know you fuck who you're closer to in proximity, but like, come on, like, you know, and then they reproduce these kids, and then they have kids growing up in the hood, and these kids are gonna be introduced to guns and violence and all this type of shit, and it's an ongoing cycle. There's not much to say about what happened in Chicago. I mean, happens all over, but when are we gonna stop this cycle? And like I said, you have people coming to my channel being mad at me because of what I say, and it's because hit dogs are hollering. There's a lot of these people who are mad at what I say. They're from the hood, and they're hood-minded. Because I grew up in the hood in Jamaica. I grew up in the hood in Jamaica, but I don't think like that. And a lot of these people are set in their ways. They do not want to change. And we see a lot of females on YouTube talking about they want bad boys and hood niggas, and Destiny's Child talked about they want a soldier in the hood street, and if his status ain't hood, and this is what we create. Violence. This is what we create. With all this hood status and all, this is what we create. I got guys coming on my channel talking about they got black mamas and black girlfriends and black cousins and black sisters, and they'll get physical with me and all type of shit. And okay, fine. When is this gonna stop? That's why I say that the progressive people need to separate themselves. I went down, there was a new housing development in South, I think that's New Brunswick, around that area, down in New Jersey there. I went to see my friend. And what I saw there was, they were the only black people I saw. And there was another black family. But most of the people there were Indian people. And they still have condominiums selling, you know, and more developments going on. But what I realize is this. When I say progressive black folks should separate themselves, because I see other people doing it. There's a bunch of Indian people there. They all work, have their own businesses, whatever. There's no hood people living there. That's what I'm saying that black people could do. Progressive black people. We're already communicating via YouTube and stuff like that. You guys can come together, see, some development going on, and you guys buy properties over there and fill them up and start right there. And you don't allow hood niggas and hood females to come around you. And then you'll have a progressive community, just like I see these Indian people doing. There's a bunch of Indian people living down there. Only 2 black families I saw, 2 progressive black families. There's nobody hood living there. And that's how we have to separate ourselves from these people. It can be done. I'm telling you, it can be done. Other groups of people are doing it. You don't see progressive white people living around trailer trash people. You don't see that shit. They don't even hang with trailer trash people. There has to be a degree of separation. It has to be. Let them kill themselves off. I really don't give a crap about what's going on there. There's too much information out here for these people to continue doing what they're doing. Progressive people just have to separate themselves. I don't know how else to say it. Anyway, that's just my take on that. See you guys some other time.